In the ancient African village of Ikpigon, where the crowing of the cock symbolized victory, there lived Tikobo, a woman whose better days were last seen many years ago. She has heard and seen many cocks crowed, but her victory seemed so far away. Tikobo was once one of the most beautiful women in Ikpigon. Her skin shimmered like polished ebony. Her laughter was like the kind of music everyone wants to behold, and her hands were swift with both calabash and mortar. Tikobo had a younger sister, Tumotu, whose beauty amazed everyone in Ikpigon. Perhaps if Tikobo was a moonlight night, Tumotu was a shooting star. Tumotu had a kind of beauty that was very difficult for everyone to describe perfectly. Indeed, her beauty was too rare to be found among men. Tikobo and Tumotu grew up as sisters and best friends. They bathed in the river together, something they enjoyed so much. They danced at the village square in a grand style, and they even shared the same dream of marrying a great warrior. One day, as the golden sun melted over the hills of Ikpigon, and the river glittered like it held secrets, the two beautiful sisters ran barefoot along its banks. By that time, Tikobo was 13 years old, while Tumotu was only 11. As they played and ran along the river banks, they were both excited. They were very happy. Suddenly, Tumotu started running into the river, and her sister screamed, "What are you doing?" "I want to catch a silver fish for you," Tumotu yelled, splashing further. "Stop! Stop!" Tikobo screamed, but by that time her sister was already in the river. Tikobo was confused. She was unsure of her next action until a sharp scream tore through the air. "Somebody help me! Somebody help me!" Tumotu screamed with so much fear. By that time, Tumotu had stepped deep into the river. The water dragged her down and she started struggling. "Help me! Help me!" she screamed, while shaking and her eyes wide with terror. Without a second thought, Tikobo dived into the river. She fought the water with strength far beyond her age, for the river was flowing very fast that day. Tikobo caught Tumotu's hand with all her strength. The river roared like it wanted both of them, but Tikobo was determined to complete the rescue mission. Tikobo kicked. Her fingers slipped, but she didn't let go. She held her sister so tight as she was struggling with the water. "I won't let the river take you. I promise you. I won't let the river take you," Tikobo screamed while trying to rescue her younger sister. Finally, with one last kick, she thrust Tumotu onto the river bank, and her only sister was saved. But Tikobo was carried a few feet downstream, for the current was so high that day. She struggled and struggled till she finally got the river bank. Tumotu threw herself into her sister's arms. "I would have died if not for you," she cried. Tikobo hugged her tight because she was so happy they were both saved. When Tikobo was 21 years old, Ogodomo, the strongest and most desired warrior of Ikpigon, came to seek her hand in marriage. That was the day jealousy took root in Tumotu's heart. She became so jealous of her elder sister. From that moment, she sought ways to take away Tikobo's joy. In the darkest valley of the forest beyond Ikpigon, where so many long trees grow and birds dare not sing, there lived a dreaded priest named Arogbo. People were so scared of him that no one mentioned his name. It was said that Arogbo spoke to spirits, slept beside skulls, and dined with shadows. He was feared, and no one ever dared him. Tumotu, driven by envy deeper than the ocean, had no fear left, but only hunger to destroy her sister's joy as she embarked on a journey to Arugbo. The night before her journey, Tumotu disguised herself in a widow's wrapper, dark as the night. She rubbed ash on her face to hide her glow and tied cowries to her feet so the spirits would think she is insane. Before dawn, she crept past the village gate, past the farmland, and into the woods. By the time the sun opened its eyes, Tumotu stood at the moss-covered gates of Arugbo's shrine. Vultures circled above, bones littered the ground, the air smelled like burnt feathers, but Tumotu wasn't scared. Arugbo emerged from the shrine like smoke. His eyes were white, too white, like they had seen things no one should. "I felt you before you arrived," he said, his voice like dried leaves cracking underfoot. "A heart soaked in jealousy always thinks from afar." Tumotu bowed low. "I need your help, great priest. I want my sister crippled forever." Arugbo chuckled, staring into the distance as if he can see Tikobo. "Your sister with a kind heart," he said slowly. "The girl who saved her sister in the river a long time ago. You want her to be crippled for life, yet you forgot she once saved you from dying." Tumotu's face turned pale in hatred for Tikobo. "She stole a Godomo from me," she said. "No," Arugbo replied. "The gods gave her what you could never earn. But since you insist, the spirits will grant your request." He led her into the shrine. Inside the shrine was as scary as the evil forest. It had walls painted in blood, shams hanging like cobwebs, different kinds of bones everywhere, and a large calabash glowing. He dipped his fingers into the calabash and did some incantations in a tongue older than his age. Then he handed over a small calabash filled with thick black liquid to Tumotu. "You must put this in her food, but listen, or be ready to face the consequences." Tumotu's ears sharpened. 1. She must eat it from your hands with love in her eyes. 2. It must be done 3 days before her joy touches the drums of marriage. 3. No soul must see this calabash. Hide it as you hide your shame. "And if I fail," asked Tumotu, "the poison will find a way home." He replied, "It will come back to you." Tumotu nodded and dropped some money before him. Arugbo laughed. "Foolish girl, the spirits don't need your money. They will take something else," he said to himself. Tumotu returned to the village with the poison hidden beneath her wrapper. Her heart beat louder than the market drums, but in her eyes danced the fire of someone who had chosen her own path, no matter the cost. Exactly 3 days before the marriage, Tikobo entered Tumotu's hut, looking so exhausted. "You look so hungry, my dear sister," said Tumotu. "You have always looked after me. Let me get you something to eat." Tikobo smiled because she needed food at that particular point in time. Because of the marriage plan, she left home very early that morning without eating. Tumotu served her a delicious meal with a fake smile on her face and a heart full of evil. "Eat," said Tumotu. "You must stay strong for the dance of your joy in 3 days' time." Tikobo smiled because her heart held no suspicion. Tikobo finally emptied the bowl of food that was presented to her by her younger sister that day. That night, Tikobo's legs began to tremble. By morning, she could not stand. By afternoon, she could not walk. By evening, The marriage was cancelled. The village murmured. Some said it was a curse. Some whispered the gods were angry with Tikobo, but Tumotu smiled in secret. Finally, the poison crippled Tikobo, and she could no longer walk. From that day, she dragged herself through dust and shame before the villagers. At last, Ogodomo got married to Tumotu. In Ikpigon, the sound of marriage drums usually stirred joy, but on the day Tumotu married Ogodomo, the skies grew grey. The birds fell silent in their nest. Ogodomo's marriage to Tumotu was not for love, but for her unmatched beauty. The village square was packed. Women wore colorful beads. The men beat the drum, but amidst the cheer, a silent dread hovered like smoke from a bad fire. Tikobo, still crippled and rejected, was nowhere near the ceremony. Her shadow, however, stretched long over the day. As Tumotu walked towards Ogodomo, dressed in white and red, a gust of wind blew through the square. The secret flame, made to burn all through the ceremony, flickered and then died. The chief priest paused. His cowrie chairs scattered across the ground. His face grew pale. This union is tainted. The gods are watching in anger, he said, but no one listened. The celebration continued. Laughter drowned out the warning. After the ceremony, Tumotu and Ogodomo never had a good time at home. Although they had every material things they desired, love and happiness were so far away from their marriage. Tumotu endured. She thought things would get better, but they did not. Ogodomo became frustrated. He came home late. He drank too much palm wine, and nothing made him happy in that marriage. One evening, he whispered to his friends, "I think I married a cursed woman." The villagers started gossiping. "It's because of what she did to her sister," some murmured at the market square. "Yes, she repaid Tikobo with evil," said another villager. People started talking, but Tumotu wasn't moved by their comments. Instead, she had strange dreams. In one of the dreams, Tikobo stood, no longer crippled, glowing with light, while Tumotu cried continuously. In another dream, the gods appeared in smoke and thunder. "You stole future that was not yours. Now, watch yours burn slowly," a voice spoke through the smoke. One morning, a priestess stood at the front of their hut and cried out in a loud voice, "Until you confess your evils and cleanse your hands, no peace will enter this home." But Tumotu, proud and afraid, refused to speak. Ogodomo fell sick. His strength faded. His face turned pale. Village healers could neither explain his sickness nor find cure for it. The priestess returned and said, "This is not illness. This is judgment." Tumotu would sit on the floor, arms around her knees, sobbing as her world crumbled. The man she married became a shadow of himself. The home she dreamed of turned to dust. She couldn't believe her eyes. Her beauty faded, her charms disappeared, and her sleep haunted. Still, she could not undo the day she poured poison into her sister's calabash, the day she chose envy over love. Yet, her heart was filled with so much regret. Some villagers mocked Tikobo, for they believed her evils led her to that condition. Her once smooth skin grew cracked, and children threw pebbles at her door because they feared she is a cursed woman. Tikobo never cursed anyone. She never complained. She tried to be happy as much as she could. Every morning, she whispered to herself, "One day, my cock will crow. One very good day, the gods will hear me, and my cock will crow. Every year, Ikpigon celebrates the festival of beauty, where young girls danced before the king and the chiefs, after which the most graceful of them was crowned daughter of Ikpigon. This is a title Tikobo had won 5 years in a row, the only maiden with that beautiful record in the history of Ikpigon. But now, Tikobo sat at the edge of the village square, legs twisted beneath her, barely shielded from the scorching sun by a free palm roof. Her once glorious skin had faded away. Her hair, once adorned with cowries and beads, was now matted and dry. But in the midst of her ugly condition, she chose happiness over sadness. The drums roared as the girls adorned in beads and wrappers danced before the crowd. Then the chief priest lifted his staff and declared, "Let the former queens of Ikpigon come forward and bless the new maidens." Whispers shot through the crowd. Heads turned to Tikobo, sitting in the dust. The crowd parted like water around her. All attention was on her. Suddenly, Tumotu stepped forward and said in a loud voice, "Let those who can walk, walk. Let those who can dance, dance. Only the standing should bless the standing." Villagers' laughter shook the entire market square. A child ran up to Tikobo and said, "Why is the cripple not dancing? Is her beauty dead too?" Tikobo didn't respond to anyone. She didn't move and she didn't cry. She turned her face to the ground and whispered, "Ikpigon, did I offend you? Or has the ground beneath me cursed my name?" That night, she didn't eat, she didn't sleep. She laid awake all through the night, just like she was waiting for her cock to crow. The next morning, she crawled out of her hut and sat on the ground with so much pain in her heart. "If I must crawl to the end of my days," she cried out, "let it be with dignity. But if I'm innocent, let the gods heal me." Villagers who saw her that morning made mockery of her. "Behold the evil woman," jeered one of the villagers. "Oh, she's crying," said another villager. "Let her keep crying while her evils catch up with her," another villager said, and they all laughed. If the villagers knew the gods have heard Tikobo's prayers, they wouldn't have made mockery of her that morning. That night, Tikobo was inside her hut when the thunderous voice echoed through her window. It was the voice of the chief priest of Ikpigon. "The gods have seen your pain," said the chief priest. "By this time tomorrow, you will be healed. Remember, truth may crawl, but it will always work faster than lies." Tikobo was amazed. She thought she was dreaming, but she was not. Just as the first cock crowed at dawn, Tikobo stood. Her legs, once twisted and numb, now moved like the wind. Her back straightened and her eyes glowed. The people of Ikpigon believe that every time a cock crows, it is for someone's victory. That morning, the cock crowed for Tikobo's victory. The villagers screamed when they saw her walking through the market that morning. Children dropped their yams. Women dropped their gossip. Ogodomo dropped his walking stick. Everyone was amazed to see Tikobo walking again. When Tumotu saw her sister standing again, she fainted. By the next morning, she could not stand and she could not walk. She was crippled. One evening, Tumotu dragged herself through the same dust she made her sister crawl until she got to Tikobo's door. She wept and wept, but weeping alone couldn't undo what she had done. As soon as Tikobo opened her door, Tumotu cried out in a loud voice, "Sister, please forgive me. I poisoned you because I was jealous. Please, Lift these cords from me." Tikobo wasn't surprised. She knew Tumotu was responsible for her condition. "Only the gods can lift it, but I forgive you," said Tikobo. Indeed, Tikobo genuinely forgave Tumotu, but she remained a cripple for the rest of her days. Some days later, some chiefs and palace guards from the neighboring village came knocking on Tikobo's door. They came with a very good news. "Our king seeks your hand in marriage," said one of the chiefs. It seemed like a joke to Tikobo, but it was not. Tikobo was given some days to think about the offer, after which she discovered the king's intentions were genuine. She married the king and her beauty was restored within a short period of time. Her skin glowed again, she became more beautiful, and her personality became a legacy that couldn't be forgotten in Ikpigon. The story of Tikobo was passed on from generation to generation. It taught the villagers that envy is a silent killer that poisons the soul before it poisons others. From the story, people learned that the truth may crawl, but it always arrives before the lie. For whatever you plant in secret will surely grow in the open. From the story, the villagers also learned not to mock people in the dust, because you might meet them again on the throne. The villagers were urged to stay out of jealousy and envy, so that each time a cock crows, it will be for victory and not for vengeance. For more interesting stories, do remember to subscribe to this channel. Kindly like, share, and comment on our videos.